Tales from the Casino Pit, a podcast where we share stories with people from the casino industry. Now, here's your cast: John, Mike, Danielle, Michelle, Pippa, and Jay.
Well, hello. Welcome to the Tales from the Casino Pit podcast. My name is Jay. You can find me on social media at Casino Dealer Jay. Right now, we're streaming over 3 platforms. Facebook, everybody on Facebook, the Casino Industry Canada group. So hello, everybody there. We have an announcement for you. And of course, my beloved Casino Dealer Jay YouTube channel. So thank you, everybody that's been supporting the channel. You are good looking. All right. My co-pilot. Matt, all those names at the start. I have one co-pilot today, and it is
Michelle. Hey, everyone. Always happy to be here, especially with Jay.
yeah, the most reliable co-host.
Yeah, you are the most reliable.
Yeah. Mr. I can't get a day off yet. Oh my God, what's going on? Anyways.
Get to do some host training.
Oh, yeah, well, I think I need to do something because I keep going on this top left side here and I'm just waiting for somebody else to take that spot. But whatever. I guess I'm on an Iron Man streak. We'll figure it out. Anyways, for those of you listening on the podcast, the completed version where we remove our uhs and our ahs, just want to let you know that we've just finished our last episode and we had Jolie and the local refillery, and she's a wonderful guest that we had on last week. Actress, stunt woman, photographer, you name it. She did all this cool stuff, and of course, she owns the refillery. What an amazing job! Yeah. So again, she got to hang out with myself and Michelle. I think it was just the 3 of us, right?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we have a guest, but before we bring her on, there's a couple more things I need to say. So we have our awesome Casino Industry Canada get together. So that's on the 17th at the Pearl Showroom at Casino Yellowhead. Amazing venue. And the reason why we haven't sold any tickets is because I haven't given anybody the link. So if I don't give you the link, you don't know where to go because it's a private link. So I will give the link. I'll start handing it out. I only gave it to the cast, but we've never really kind of brought it out, or we talked about it on this one podcast and that's it. But we didn't even put it out on the group yet. So once we put it on the group, hopefully things are going to be really cool. So, and then, hey, one more thing. I just want to show you this cool thing, Michelle. DJ nights in August.
Oh,
at not good. Yellowhead, Pure Casino Edmonton. Look at that wonderful picture.
Steve? Is that Steve at the bottom?
That is Steve at the bottom.
Okay.
And the voice of our show, Natasha. So the person that you hear at the start, she is also DJing in the month of August. And hey, there I am there.
That's awesome. That's a good picture.
I do not like the proportions of the photos because it looks like I have the biggest head. Even if I do, but they should have at least.
Critical of yourself. That's a good picture.
Anyways, okay, that was it. It was a good 3 minutes or 4 minutes that we kind of spent on that. So we do have a guest, a wonderful guest. We tried to get her on last season, and now she is available. So let's bring her on right away. We have Christy. Hello.
Hey. Hello.
All right. So, Christy, for those of the people that are going to be watching and listening on the podcast, could you just let us know a little bit about yourself, where you worked, where you started, and all the casino experience? Because you do have quite a bit of casino experience.
I do. Hi. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm 30. I started dealing around 21, 22. I first started at Golden Gate, and then I switched to MGM. Then I switched to Hooters, which is now Oyo, and then Binion's, and now Ellis Island. So almost 8 years I've been dealing and going to school full time. So I'm a student, I'm a dealer, and I model, jack of all trades.
Bro, that's so cool. No, that's awesome. You worked at you worked at a few casinos, and I'm kind of interested to hear about Binions because it's one of my favorite casinos, and just being in that kind of area. But before we get to that, I just wanted to know what got you into the casino industry.
So first off, I started doing hair right out of high school, and then I was cocktail waitressing on the side. And my cocktail waitress coworker, she told me, I found this amazing job. It pays $20 an hour plus tips. All you have to do is learn how to deal blackjack and go-go dance. And I'm like, okay, I suck at math, but they'll teach me. Okay, and I can just kind of fake it till I make it with the go-go dancing. I'm down. So for my audition, all I had to do was go and dance on top of a bar, and they told me if I got the job or not. Mind you, I was very nervous, so I did take a shot at the bar before I went up there, but I got it.
Nice.
That is so cool. Now, you did start dealing blackjack, but now you also deal dice.
I do. I started learning dice at Binions. We were so short-staffed right after the shutdown. When everything opened back up, they needed a lot of dice dealers. And so one of the easiest ways for me to get a job was to say, I'm willing to learn dice because I was terrified of dice when I started dealing. Like, I could barely do roulette. I'm just not good at math. So I slowly started learning on the table. I never went to school. I'd never been to a dealing school. I've always learned in the casino. And they taught me on the table at Binions when we had only 4 people on each side because of, COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the easiest way for me to learn, on a $5 table with 4 people on each side.
That's a
That's
good way
cool.
to learn.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we learned the same. Like, we ended up learning in the casino as well. So the casino provided us with the training. It's a little bit different up here because right now, like for us, if we wanted to learn craps, they'd actually pay us, which is really cool. So we didn't have to like take a class or anything like that.
Yeah,
so,
you learn it through your own casino. Like, there's no
Yeah.
separate school. Your own casino runs training for whatever games they think they need dealers for.
So out here, there's a temp agency that I was working for when I was with Binions. They offered to pay for you to go to school to learn dice and any other game. However, if you don't deal it and you stop going to the school, you have to pay the temp agency the money back, everything that. And I was like, I'm already in school. I'm not going to another school. I'll just learn on the table. So I'm still learning. Like, I'm not a professional. I'm not, all the way up there. My crew always has my back, luckily. And I have theirs when I'm able to. So it's nice.
That's cool. That's cool. Are there any other games that you probably want to learn down the road? Because, I don't know how good like poker dealers make, like, I don't know like how the tips are like, but here when you're dealing poker, if you're dealing like late night and it's like KYO, you make a ton of money. So I don't know if it's something like that.
Especially the World Series of Poker out here. It's very big. They make really good money. I've thought about dealing poker, never had the time to learn it. I would love to learn Texas Hold'em. I deal 3-card poker and I enjoy that. So I feel like I would really enjoy Texas Hold'em a lot. There's a lot of action and stuff going on. I just never had the chance to learn it.
Do you mean like just regular Texas Hold'em or like Ultimate Texas Hold'em? Because I know we have Ultimate.
Yeah. Ultimate. Okay. See, I don't even know that. Ultimate, regular.
That's all right. I mean, no, we have it. Yeah, it's a fun game. Although it's really hard for us to get to train the game, just because like if you don't deal poker, it's really hard. Like, you need to learn like the hands and everything else, right? Otherwise, it gets pretty tough for a lot of like break-in dealers when they're just starting. So it's kind of cool that you know craps. So that's like, like craps and everything else after that, because that's for me it's in the hardest. Yeah.
Sorry. And at Binions, it was different because we were the party pit. So we were the girls with the sparkly bras and the fishnets and the black shorts. So it like drew a lot of attention in, from the outside, because we're right in the entrance. So, guys loved it. They absolutely loved it. They're like, oh, this gold mine. We just found women in sparkly bras dealing dice. Like, yes. I'm like, yeah.
That's funny. Michelle, do you have any questions that you wanted to bring up?
I probably do. I don't have any in my brain at this moment.
I do. We talk about we've kind of talked about this a few times. What are your thoughts? Because I know you've probably seen this already, but what are your thoughts on the electronic table games?
Oh goodness, I think it is I think it's a waste of money. The players like the interaction with the dealers. You know, I had a lot of players tell me, "Oh, we had that in Arizona. There was one dealer. It took us forever to figure out how to even just roll the dice." And it takes away from the whole gambling experience of talking to dealers, letting them show you, hey, you can do this, like the small little tricks you teach on dice for beginners. And it takes away, from money. It just takes away the whole experience. And that's what people go to gamble for, is the experience and money, but mainly the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I half the reason I don't play often, but half the reason I would play craps is just to watch the dealers deal it, to be honest, So, I mean, it's just fun, the interaction. It would not be as fun without it.
It doesn't look like fun to me. It just looks like something shiny where it's, oh, we don't want to hire enough people. We're going to be a lazy casino and have one person do all of this. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it kind of does. I mean,
do you guys have that in Canada?
We have versions of it, not in that it's more of a slot machine than anything else. So I do have a photo that actually, let's see if I have it here, where it's you sit down and you have like your own set of dice and
they jumble in front of you.
Yeah,
we have that too.
So yeah, this interblock version is, it's not quite the same. I mean, it might be cool if you're sitting around with your friends and stuff, but you can't really get into it. So we still have like the traditional tables, not as many as we did before, but the game's still alive in the city, which is nice. So if you ever feel like you want to come out and you want to go play, there's some tables that are available, and just it's much better. But because of COVID, we did have a shutdown for the whole city, so there were no casinos that were able to run, and that kind of affected the games, like the table games, not just the staff, but like the whole casino industry altogether. So it was kind of sad to see a lot of the games not come back at some of the casinos, but hopefully they will down the road.
Mainly I like those machines to tell people who do the annoying prop bets over and over and over again. I'm like, just go sit over there. You can do it yourself.
Exactly. It's
all they're good for.
Direct the fun players to the live game and direct the annoying players to the electronic version.
Yeah. I'm like, you just $1 for a bet. Just go. Go that way.
Bet you're 5 on the pass line, 6 on the don'ts over there. You try your system. $2 across. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
That's funny. It's funny we're talking about this. I love craps. I do. And I love the art of it. I love dealing it. I love understanding presses and just kind of analyzing how players play. And, it's really fun. I think, it's one of the reasons why I stayed in like the gaming industry and stayed with casinos, is just because it's such a fun game. Not just that, like you're there at a table and it's not just you, right? Like when I mean you, if you're dealing blackjack, it's just you dealing blackjack. When your table's dead, it sucks. You're just going to be sitting there in a tray and you're just looking around. Pit boss comes by. Hey, you talk for like a minute if that pit boss is cool, but they got to work. But, a game like craps, there's 3 other people with you, right? And it's really cool because we're really bad. If you knew us like as a crew, we were pretty bad because we talk about like hockey and we talk about NFL and fantasy football and stuff while we're dealing, and we're dealing to like a busy game, so it's kind of it's pretty bad. And
you don't need a dead game to have a conversation. Is that
what
No. And I work with mainly guys. Like I only have one other girl who deals dice during the day with me, so I'm used to. And I grew up with a brother, so I'm used to the crude talk. So the guys, they'll be like, and I'll jump in and say something, and they're like, "Oh, like she just said
that." Just on the side, who's your team? We'll talk NFL. Who's your NFL team?
49ers. I am from the Bay Area originally.
Is that right?
Yes.
So I do have one jersey here. So I'll just show that one for you. So
Very nice. Very nice.
it's got a 7. So I brought it just in case, dedicated for you.
I love
7
it.
out.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. My team's right there. And it's
Oh.
funny you say Bay Area, because Bay Area, I was like, oh, I wonder, like, because you're from Cali. So I was like thinking, oh, maybe she's an Oakland fan. I don't know.
Just
Maybe.
because they're in Vegas does not mean they're my team.
Well, they were in Oakland.
They were in Oakland.
They were in LA before that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were a lot of places. No, 49ers since I was little.
Do you have a baseball team?
Oakland A's. Ironic, I know. The Oakland A's. I grew up watching them in the Coliseum. Like my dad would take us out of school and be like, "Oh, they have a doctor's appointment," and take us to a baseball game. Like it was awesome, and it was inexpensive. Have you seen the Coliseum? It's a disaster, and I'm so excited that they might be coming to Las Vegas. So that makes me happy.
That's got to be one of the last professional baseball teams missing in Vegas. It's baseball.
Yeah, well, we have their farmer team, and it's crazy that their farm team has a better stadium than the professional, the major league team. Like they don't mind going down and being like, "Oh, I'll stay here." Like we don't have cats and rats running around, and there doesn't flood. So I hope they come. That's come.
Vegas for you.
No, it's cool. I like, yeah. It's cool that you're getting teams in Vegas, and that's like really awesome. I'm so excited to go back there. I'm so excited to see a football game.
They're amazing. I went to the first home game for the Raiders just to be like a part of history. And it was great. The stadium is beautiful. They did an amazing job with it.
Oh, that's
good. It's actually amazing how long Vegas went without having professional sports teams. When you think like entertainment capital of something, it's surprising.
Yeah. And when we're doing so well with it. It was the Golden Knights who started it. And I'm a huge hockey fan too now. Like, love my Golden Knights. Can't stand the management, but I love my Golden Knights. But that's what I feel like that's what kicked it off. We're like, hey, we're going to try with them and try with the women's basketball. And it was just such a success. They started bringing more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people from Edmonton that have gone to watch Oilers games in Vegas, especially the first couple of years. And lots of comments about the entertainment value, like the show they put on, right? And that's the way you got to do it these days.
Vegas literally raised the bar for hockey. Like I felt bad after I haven't been to any other stadium, but my friends have, and they're like, yeah, it was not as much fun. I'm like, well, we're in Vegas. They have to make it exciting.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel bad for your team this year.
Thank you.
Well, last year, but anyways, no, they just watching like what they do in like the pre-shows and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, I wish we could do that. Like, and we're not that bad. Like in Edmonton, like the Oilers are fine, they're great, but we're not. I don't think we're close to that. And it's kind of we need to get a little bit better. We were better in the old barn, not in the new area, right? So
I think part of the problem in Edmonton is that you are always going to have people willing to go to the games, right? Like as much as you want to deliver that entertainment value, there's less incentive here to do it because there's so many people that will go. I mean, that did go down in COVID. That definitely has affected the demand, but that's kind of always been the case. There's always been a long list of people that would go to the games. It has been dwindling lately, so it'll be interesting to see if they change anything.
Yeah. Here's my question. Christy, how much are tickets for a Golden Knights game?
So it varies, obviously different levels. A lot of my friends have season tickets, so I never had to buy tickets. Or we have up top, it's called Hyde Lounge. It's basically like a nightclub spot where like you can watch the game. So you can buy a table and you just have a food and drink minimum, and you can sit there up top drinking, eating food, staying away from all of the other seats and enjoy the game. So it can be lately as low as like maybe $75 up to $600 or $800.
Wow.
Because my friends with season tickets, when they started trading away all of our players, they couldn't give away their season tickets. It was so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, I don't feel bad. because they're in the same division.
Sorry.
And they kept beating us, right? I was like, oh my god.
They were
Yeah, it's
that first year was a pretty marquee year, to be an expansion team and have such a huge year that first year. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But we needed it. Vegas needed it after October. Like, we needed them so bad, and they came through full force and brought our city even closer. I loved it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can't. I can't hate the Golden Knights. I can now.
Don't hate them.
Yeah, now you can.
Not
No,
hate,
don't
hate
want
them.
to-
No.
You're
Yeah.
not a fan.
We want to be good, but not as good as. Anyways, continuing on. I have a layout here. Do you have this side bet? Bonus craps,
but
something
The
like
all
that.
tall small.
Yeah.
We have the all tall small. We just got it 2 or 3 weeks ago. They just put it on our tables.
How do you feel about it?
I enjoy it when they bet for us. I enjoy it. It's fun. It gets people a little bit more excited because it's, something other than 6, 8, 9,
Yeah.
field bet. So I think it adds a little bit more enthusiasm. And
How's
your
that work?
payout-
You gotta hit them all to win or something before it's 7 out, or how's that work?
Yeah, so you put, for us, it's a $5 minimum for each, for the all small, all tall, and then make them all. $5 the minimum. And then you have to roll the all small without hitting a 7, and then the all tall without hitting a 7. That's in between points when the puck is off and on. So if the puck's off and you're coming out on the come out roll, 7 rolls, all the numbers come back down. You have to start all back over.
Well, it's always on, basically.
Yeah, those are always on.
Got it. Okay.
It's fun. The first week we had it, it wasn't hitting. For some reason, nothing was hitting. 7 out, 7 out, 7 out. It was bad. This past week, I feel like it's kind of warming up because it was a brand new layout. It's kind of warmed up a little bit, It's been hitting a couple times. They've been putting us up for it. So, but we haven't hit it. Not yet. We're so close. 1 or 2 numbers away. But I don't know how long it's going to last. It was kind of like a trial test. And then everyone's asking us to bring the fire bet. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one.
We have that.
I've heard that it's horrible.
I don't know what it is. Let's explain it for the folks at home and me.
So, so a fire bet, you bet it on the come out roll. Once a point's established, that's it. What you need to do is get all 6 points. So and not 6 points, but just all 6 different points. So 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10.
The numbers specifically.
Yeah. And then you get like a 1,000 to 1 or 1,000 to 1 payout. Normally, I think that's like your top bet. So if you're betting $5, you get like $5,000 if you get all 6 points. And it's something that when I was dealing before COVID, I think I experienced it once in like 4 years, but I've missed a bunch because I was only a weekend dealer. So I think it was around maybe 2 or 3 times a year you get someone else get all 6. But for the most part, it was more like 5. You get a lot of 5s, and that would be a really good, payout as well because it's like 125, I think. 125 to 1. So it's not that bad.
We get a lot of people that will come up and play just the all tall small. We had one girl today, actually. She came up and did the make them all, just $5 on that one. And she barely did any place bets, and she just rolled, got them all. She won like 7 something. And then she took her money and left. So that's all they come there just to play that. I'm like, okay. Congratulations.
Just a quick comment here. Hi, Vince. Nice to have you back on.
Hey, Vince.
Says, fire bet. Vince feels it's the best bet in the house next to the all tall small bonus crap. So there you go.
I've never dealt the fire bet. I've heard about it. My coworkers, when I were talking about it today, actually, they couldn't stand it when they dealt it. I know Planet Hollywood has it.
Yeah, that's a casino that I remember having it like for the first time, and it was a long time ago. So
yeah,
where does it sit on the layout?
Where does it sit? There's just on the outside of the pass line. There's like the number with like the fire on it. So
okay,
lights up.
Yeah, so each person like has their own number, and then you put it on, and then if you're on base, you have to grab it, and then it goes into like the top of the prop box, and then everyone has their number there. So Yeah, I've played it. I've got 5. Well, I didn't get 5 because I suck. I can't throw anything. And me
I
seven.
played the all tall small when I can.
Did you hit it?
Yeah, I've hit it a couple times, but only because I only play dice like once or twice a year. If I do more than that, I won't win. So I'll go play the all tall small and I'll hit it, and I'll take my money and I'll pay bills, go shopping, and then I'll come back and put $100 down. And if I lose, I walk away. I'm like, okay, I'm done. But I will play it. It's fun.
Okay, so since we're talking about that, what do you like to, you're working in Vegas, which is really cool. So you work in the casino in Vegas, you're there, and now your day shift, which is it's kind of like the pinnacle of casino dealers. Apparently, even when you're 60 years old, like you're the best, right? That's how day shift dealers are all the time, when you have like the entitlement and stuff, and you want all the night shift tips and you want the weekend tips. We pool here, right? So
okay, yeah. I was like,
yeah, I refuse. I refuse to deal poker, but I don't want poker tips. So anyways, sorry, I veered off there. I'm not bitching. I'm just saying. Yeah, when you're not working, what do you like to do? You're in Vegas, which is really cool. So what's there to do for a dealer that probably doesn't want to go to another casino? Maybe you do. I don't know, but
I stay away from the strip as much as possible. You're only on the strip when family comes into town. So a lot of times we actually go out to the lake. My lake family and I, we always go out to either Lake Mead, which is slowly disappearing. I don't know if you've seen the news on that. Or we go to Lake Havasu in Arizona, and I'm actually going out there next weekend, Lake Havasu, for a weekend because it's so hot. It's so hot. So we do that. We mainly just have parties at my boyfriend's house because it's at a house. There's a pool, there's barbecue, there's drinks. Don't have to drive anywhere, or we Uber. You can stay the night. Once the shutdown happened, we stopped going out a lot because it was just cheaper and easier and a lot more fun to just do things at home and with your family. So I mean, if I do want to gamble, I'll go to like a local bar and play 4-card Keno. Like that's my
yeah, that's a good game too.
Yeah. Yeah, I work out a lot. I just honestly in school. So I really kind of don't have a life, but when I do, it's just my 2 or 3 days off, and then I enjoy it with my friends, mainly somewhere near a body of water. It's hot, very hot.
Really cool, really cool. Vince says, "Love your show." Hey, Vince, we love you too. Thanks for being on this season. Really cool. And his comment says, "All tall small wins a ton of times daily." So he's from the East Coast there, so they got probably a lot of that action.
We'll get people, it'll hit, but no one's playing it, of course, because we still mark the numbers to show people, hey, you're missing out.
What a won.
You should bet it. And no one bets it. I'm like, okay.
That's hilarious.
I'm always leery of new bets on existing games. Just like knowing how casinos run and whatever, I'm just always leery of new games, and new bets on old games, just because they always have this feel they're meant to make money, right? So the odds couldn't possibly be as good on those bets as they are on older bets. Now I don't know that that's true, but that's where my brain goes.
I mean, it's there for a reason. They're trying not to dump a bunch of money, but they're trying to bring more people in, because all the time we would get, oh, do you have the bonus here? Do you have the bonus here? No, we don't. And it would lose players.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay. You did send me a couple pictures, so I do want to show these pictures off. Those of you listening on the podcast, you're going to enjoy this. All right. So the first photo.
Yes. That was at Binion's. That's at Binion's. That was Halloween.
Awesome.
We got to dress up because, I guess this was the first year they let us dress up, because Binion's just doesn't let you. But since we had to wear the masks, they're like, have fun with it. Just make sure it's work appropriate. So I dressed up as Belle because I'm a princess. I'm just kidding. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. They let us do a lot more fun stuff like that because of the masks, like wearing the jerseys. But that was Binion's. That was me on the Big Six. They finally got rid of that thing. That was a waste basically you got off of break and we're on break again for 20 minutes, just standing there at that thing.
And you didn't like that?
Big wheels everywhere. I'm sure share the
Yeah.
same stories.
we didn't have comfortable shoes. We had to wear boots. So, standing there even longer, I'd rather sit for 20 minutes just waiting for a player.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, absolutely. All right. And the next photo.
Okay.
Line these
So,
up.
so on the left in the stripe, the referee, that's at Binion's. That's me and my coworker Sherry. She's one of my close friends. The middle one is the Hooters. So when I first started Hooters, we didn't have those uniforms. We had these ugly blue shorts with this blue halter with like a silver collar. I looked like a 70s flight attendant. It was ugly. It was absolutely horrible. Like, why are we wearing these? So they finally let us switch to the actual Hooters uniforms. And I was so excited because no other Hooters place will let you wear that uniform with tattoos and piercings. And so the waitresses at the restaurant were very upset with me because I got to walk around in it and they can't have tattoos and piercings. But I was happy because it looked way cuter than that 70s flight attendant. And then we switched over to Oyo. And it wasn't much of a change except for just the color of the shirt.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So they changed it from Hooters to Oyo, and was there like a really big shift there, or did they try to keep things the same? Like obviously the uniform changed, but did they change the theme of the overall casino? Did you notice like a big difference there?
No.
No?
The only difference was the change in our uniform, the sign outside, and the sign is still orange and white like a Hooters sign. So that's pretty much all that they've changed. And the owners.
Mm.
That's it. It's still keep your own. Still dollar blackjack. That's fun. Yeah.
You don't have to answer this, but what was your favorite casino? And you could say deal, like favorite casino to deal at, but really, what's your favorite casino?
My favorite casino to deal at, I really enjoyed Golden Gate for the dancing portion of it because I love go-go dancing now. But I loved Oyo. That was my family. Well, Hooters, Oyo. That was like they became family. I knew everybody because it was a very small casino. I knew everyone from line cooks to dishwashers to the porters. We were all friends and family there, and I loved it. And that doesn't mean I didn't like any of the other casinos. It's just I really felt like a family there. Everyone had each other's backs. It was really nice.
That's really cool. Okay.
My favorite casino not to deal in is the Cosmo because of the giant chandelier.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, no, I thought it was just because it's a place where I think they make like a ton of money, the dealers there, and it's one of like the best places to work. I don't know if that's true, but every time I talk to somebody,
I've heard great things about there. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, one more photo. Let's bring that one up if you want to let us know about this.
So on the left, that's Golden Gate, the dancing dealer. That's the little platform. So after we were dealing, we were either told to go on break or go up there and go dance for 20 minutes and then go on break. So that was actually my 22nd birthday, and my friend took that photo. And those were our outfits, little flapper outfits. It was fun. It was cute, And then on the right is Binion's. Those were the uniforms that I came into with my friends Sherry and Lacey. Got really close with them. I worked with Sherry at Hooters also, so I kind of followed her around a little bit.
That's really cool. Yeah, we had a version of a party pit. So then we actually did have something similar. They wanted to bring that here after seeing that in Vegas, and let's just say the first reiteration of it didn't really work. We were kind of in a downtown. I don't want to say like it's a downtown area, so in our city, it's not really that, I don't want to say safe. Is safe the word, Michelle?
I got you. It's like Fremont.
Less desirable.
Different clientele, I guess you can say something like that. So it was really tough to manage something like a party pit there, but it was fun. Like I got to DJ it, so they paid me a lot of money to just play really loud music in the casino, so that was fun. And then the Yellowhead, this is one that I ended up working at before COVID. They also did a party pit, which was really cool. They had a lot of dancers. It was a similar theme, and you have the girls dance 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off. And I'm like, wow, that's like an amazing shift, and they made a lot of money. And then they also had dealers there too. So then they trained their dealers, and then they were all dressed up, and they were making really good tips. They were increasing tips, but it's not KYO, so everybody was pooled. So there was a little bit of a difference there, but yeah.
Yeah, at Golden Gate for the dancing dealers, ours was separate from the black and whites who dealt dice while we were there on swing shift.
Mm-hmm. So then was that a keep your own? Oh, I don't know if I should ask you that, but I will.
For Golden Gate, no,
Yeah.
Golden Gate wasn't keep your own.
Okay.
It was just for the party pit, and then if you didn't work the weekends, you didn't get the weekend tips.
Okay.
So we separated that for a good reason.
Yeah.
They're always very busy.
We don't have to get into tips, just because that always sparks like a 2-hour conversation about what we should do with them.
We've had
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, but anyways, it's really cool to kind of, get that perspective of somebody that's been in Vegas, and you've worked in like Binion's, which I find like that's one of my favorite casinos, just because I love poker, and I just love that Fremont area, even though like at night it's kind of scary. Other than that, it's actually
Scary is a nice word for it.
I
I don't know if you watched the news lately.
Before I ask you, let's say Vince says, my wife and I got a great deal with Harrah's Vegas, October 1st to 7th. How is that casino?
Harris, let's see. It's nice. I don't go there a whole lot. I had an ex who dealt there. Everyone's really nice. It's not like dirty or grungy. It's just an older casino. So, I mean, the minimum bets are going to be 10. It's just an older casino, and you're like right kind of in the middle of the strip. So you have ways to go and venture off if you want to. But it is a nice casino. And they used to have a party pit.
Yeah, it's really a good location if you're looking for Central Strip, right? Like it's a really good bit. Like we used to go there when we were younger, because you could always like there in Imperial Palace, which was I think right next door when it existed.
Now it's the Cromwell.
Yeah. So those were always the cheapest, but Harrah's was like a half a step above the Imperial Palace back then. Just a half a step. Like IP, the first time I ever went, we were in a room at the back, and I was like, I didn't know these casinos, like these hotels, went this far back, like walking all the way down. Yeah, but Harrah's, we stayed at a couple times when we were younger, looking for cheaper Central Strip. There's nothing wrong with that place at all.
Yeah, it is nice. I mean, I've gambled at it a couple times. Like I said, I had an ex that worked there, but it's not horrible.
Yeah, we didn't always spend a ton of time at Harrah's. It's a good central place to stay if you're looking to be on the strip. Yeah.
If you want to walk those miles.
Yeah.
Vince says awesome. And Planet Hollywood with Stadium Craps. Have you dealt with Stadium Craps?
Okay, so when I mentioned that I worked at MGM, it was with the agency that I was working with. They built this entire literal stadium where we were up on stage and everyone was down below. Remember that little craps machine where you sit there and you're pressing the buttons? They had like 60 of them in front of us, and we're on stage. We had microphones, a DJ, and you could see the cards behind us, and there was cameras showing our hands dealing the cards. And no one was ever there. They never promoted it, anything like that. And they've been trying to do it at other casinos, but they just won't promote it. There's so much potential there because they've done it in other countries, I believe. That's where they got the idea. And it's all about promotion. So when I dealt it, it wasn't like, it was nothing. Like no one was there. That's it. I know Silverton has it. It hasn't lasted long. I know Aria has it, but it's not as it was at MGM, where it was the Rainforest Cafe used to be, like up on the, literally on a stage, which was pretty frightening sometimes, but it was cool.
We had that here too, actually. So we have the West Hampton Mall, which is the only thing we ever talk about if you're from Edmonton, because it's like this massive mall. But we had a casino then. That's where we used to work together, Michelle and I. And right now they do have that Planet Hollywood, and it has died down. because they did have like, they have baccarat, roulette, they have craps, they have sick bow, they had all these different kind of games on exactly what you said, like with the cameras and everything. But it gets really tough to kind of, you need the right environment in order to have something successful. Something like, like that is really tough when you have an established casino. And like our clientele, I don't want to say our clientele, but the clientele there is not as consistent as, say, we go to like one of the First Nations casinos here, because they have like the constant influx of people, and it's a little more consistent than the mall, where you have more like of a tourist kind of attraction. People just come in and out. It's more random. So to have something like stadium craps, like, I think you need a really good base and a bunch of young people that want to come in and play. It's not really good for like regulars, because I come in. The only people that want to play that, I think we talked about this before the show, are the ones that's like, hey, let me do like my little system here. And I don't want to do it on the real table because people are going to get mad at me because I want to do an iron cross, or I want to do $2 across and things like that. So,
And honestly, it kind of surprised me because where they had it, it was right next to a nightclub, Hakkasan. And then they had a bar that they had built. And then they had all of these kind of games where like the bar crawls would come through. And I was like, oh, it's perfect. We're going to get all the, the younger vibe. No, didn't happen. We just stood there twirling our thumbs. They tried. But yeah, it is definitely about the place and the environment that it's in.
Yeah. You talked about sometimes being on the strip, not being on the strip. I had a friend that I worked with. We worked on the ships together, and he had dual citizenship. He ended up working in Vegas, and his name's Nelson. And the whole bunch of us would always come and visit him, and then he'd actually drive us off of the strip. And that's like the first time I actually like went to a club, and I'd be like, oh my God, this is so much better. Like, you come in, is it true that like you go to like a bar, and if you're like a local, you get like a massive kind of discount on like drinks?
It depends, like on the strip from a bar or like off the strip at a bar?
Off the strip. Are there places still like where you go in? Because he came in, he's just like, yeah, this is where I work. I work at this casino, and it's on the strip. And then he was off the strip. We ended up going to a couple places. I forgot the name, but they had like hookahs, and it was so cool because I went in. It was just south of like Mandalay. I come in, and then all these girls are dancing on the bar, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool.
I like the big thing hookahs. The one time I hung out with a local in Vegas, he took us to a hookah bar too.
Yeah.
It's a guy we met dealing the poker with Card Player Cruises. We hung out with him in Vegas, and that's where he took us to.
Yeah, hookah lounges are really big out here. They do have a thing for industry night. So if you go to a certain place on industry night and you're like, this is where I work, here's my ID, you do get discounts. Okay. Like, they have that for a reason, which is really cool, because then it gets people to to market and everything like that, and be like, oh, well, I'll come visit you if you come visit me, and kind of things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Couple comments. Where's this guy? So Mike is one of our co-hosts, and for some reason he's
9 o'clock my ass, Mike.
Yeah, it's 9:16. Our guest has been waiting for you for 43 minutes now, and you haven't shown up. And yet you come and you put a Facebook post on saying Paigao with Nabil. Now, Michelle, I guess that's some inside joke here. Paigao with Nabil.
We went to Vegas when we were like 21, 22, and we spent a lot of time at Harris on that trip and playing Paigao. So yeah, it is a nod to that trip.
Yeah.
I like Paigao because it's a drinking game. Like, you just kind of chill.
Which Paigao are you talking about? Are you talking about cards or tiles?
Cards. Oh, not tiles. I don't know how to do tiles. I barely know how to do cards.
I'm talking about tiles, but yeah. Because we've all dealt the game, so there's a really funny story. You've heard the Lars story, Jay, haven't you?
No, you're gonna have to tell me this Lars story here.
So
There's a few.
I think it was at Harris, if I'm not mistaken. And so he comes up to the table, empty table, the tiles are laid out, And he walks up to the table and he's like, "Dominoes? My grandpa's got dominoes." And he puts his money on the table. Knowing full well it's not dominoes. Obviously. So the look on that dealer's face, I wish I had a picture.
But he was fooling around. Okay, I do remember this one because he was fooling around with him. Like he deals tiles. So
Yeah.
then like when he got it, he was just like, and he just
so
set
then
it
he
up.
gets a hand and he's like playing with them like a pro and sets them and just looks at the dealer pan face. Oh yeah, I steal that story from him all the time. It's such a good story.
That's hilarious. A couple comments here. Laura, hello Laura. You should have a cocktail on your show. Maybe next week. Maybe you should
That's
send me a
great.
message. Good idea. Good idea. And Mike replies, try having a preteen daughter.
I'll pass. Thank you, though.
So Chris, look at that, 45 minutes. We've been talking about just a lot about Vegas and everything. What's one of the funniest stories that you have of your time dealing? I mean, there's got to be a bunch while you've been there in Vegas. What's a good one?
There are many. The most recent one was when I was on dealing dice at Binion's, and it was I can't remember what weekend it was, but it was packed, and there were these people standing behind me. Mind you, wearing booty shorts. Do not stand behind me. I don't care. Like, just don't. And I asked them nicely many times, don't stand behind me. Don't stand behind me. They were wasted. And then they kind of started falling into me. And I said, okay, one more time. Do not stand behind me. The guy come up right behind me. And I take my stick and went, whap! And I smacked him on the head. And my floor just went, and I was like, I told him not to. Like, what do you want me to do? And so the guy finally went away from behind me. And he was like, but he didn't complain, luckily. Like, I didn't get in trouble. I said it was an accident. My floor knew because they wouldn't leave me alone. So, but I was pretty proud of that moment. I stood my ground. Do not stand behind me. I will hit you. To this day, I tell people, I will hit you. Do not stand behind me. That makes sense.
That's cool. I think you guys need the cage behind you. So our co-host John actually ended up working at a place that had an actual like railing behind them, and it kind of separated the stick person from the actual players, which is really cool.
That would have been nice.
Yeah. No, that's one thing I hated about being on stick, especially when you get like a hot, sweaty guy just leaning up against you, setting dice, and they're just like, shoulder to you, and you're like, oh my God, man. Like, I can
or when
smell.
They talk to you.
Yeah.
And
It's like,
I'm like, here's a TikTok.
It's like spice rum and Coke. It's like, no.
No, it's like, did you brush your teeth after you ate that fish? It gets bad.
Mike says, how good did it feel to hit someone with a stick?
It felt really good. Like, I kept telling everyone when I was on break, I was like, I finally hit someone with a stick on purpose. He deserved it. And they're like, where is he? I'm like, that idiot over there. Like, yeah, I loved it. Because everyone says, oh, don't, in case you get hit. No, you will get hit. If you're behind me, watch out. Personal bubble.
That's awesome.
Well, it sounds like you gave several warnings well within your right to give him a slap.
I did. And I'm sorry, I don't care if you're drunk or not. Like, no means no. Go away. Okay, now violence will happen. I was able to get away with a lot there.
Quick question. What's the worst story of someone getting kicked out of the casino?
So I was working at Hooters. This one was good. So I was working at Hooters. I was dealing blackjack, and this young lady came up to the table. She bought in. I gave her money, and she just starts cussing. And my floor at the time doesn't put up with cursing. And I was like, hey, sweetheart, just do me a favor not to cuss. I don't want my floor to come over here and, tell you. It's just she's very big on that. And she turns around and she starts cussing me out. And I'm like, whoa, okay, whatever. So her boyfriend's trying to calm her down. I start dealing the cards. And she's cussing and cussing. I was like, sweetie, like, you really need to not cuss. And then she starts calling every person on the blackjack table a racial slur and me. And I'm like, okay, like, floor, like, I'm calling my floor, like, where are you? And she's sitting over there chit-chatting with 3-card poker. I'm like, floor, help me. And then the lady gets up. She's like, and I'm 5'8", and she's like this tall. She's smaller than me. Like, she was really drunk. Luckily, it was hockey season. There were 2 big guys standing on the side of me where there was the rope. She came all the way around the table and like went to hit me. And I'm like, security, like, ah, where are you guys? It took them forever to get there. They made her color up her money, sent her away. No, I kid you, 2 minutes later, here she comes back. Racial slur, racial slur, racial slur. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, get this lady out of here. They get her away. And then she comes, I'm like, oh my God, like, get this woman out of here. Like, and they finally got, I think she ended up getting kicked out of the casino completely because they were staying there. They were trying to give her a chance. I was just like, oh my goodness.
That's crazy. Like, what do you think's gonna happen?
Exactly.
I'm like, come at me. My coworker, my floor, he was like, you have every right to defend yourself. I said, good to know. Elbow, like, don't come at me. Yeah, we've had a couple interesting ones at Binion's too. We had a man, and blackjack tables are heavy. You guys know this. He completely flipped over the blackjack table.
Yikes.
Like, freaked out. And I'm glad like the little tiny lady dealing didn't get hit. He got kicked out. We had one guy, he was playing dice at Binion's, and he would never roll, but he would bet. And every time someone would 7 out, he'd just start cussing them out, like, oh, you suck, F this, blah, 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 blah. And he finally said it to the wrong person. This really very big Samoan guy. He was like, and he was an older gentleman that was, running his mouth. And he was like, oh, say it one more time. It just clocked him. And the guy just kind of stood there and took it. And I was impressed that the guy didn't fall over because he's like in his like 60s. So we were all just kind of watching and seeing what's going on. And then they 86'd him and not the guy that punched him because he was antagonizing it. Ironically enough, he is now a regular where I deal now. And I was like, hey, you used to play at Binion's. No, I didn't. Okay. Okay. Sure.
My mistake. Sorry, sir.
Yeah. Okay. And he's still cussing out the players at 7 out. And I'm like, nope, you are definitely the same person.
Yeah, same guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I've just one quick story. Before I used to be a games manager at one of the casinos, so kicking people out was really, it was kind of normal, especially on the weekends, weekend nights and stuff like that. But I ended up going to another casino, and then there was someone that was 86th. I got pretty bad. I'm like, hey, I know you. And that person was just like so like embarrassed, right? It's like, I think I was just being a jerk just because that person was being a jerk to me. But it was the only payback that I could ever get when I was a manager at the time. But I was just like, weren't you the one on the floor and they were yelling to you, stop resisting, stop resisting, stop resisting? It's a stop resisting guy over there. Yeah, that's him.
Guy.
Yeah, that's the best line. It's a bad weekend night when you're like standing there and someone's like getting kicked out and like security is like, stop resisting. It's like, oh my God. Either that or a wheelchair. And that's the one thing about Vegas. It's like, man, I wish we had wheelchairs here, just like carting people out on that. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. I had one lady, she was so drunk, she peed her chair at Binion's. I was dealing blackjack. Her daughter had left her, and she goes to get up, and she kind of gets up, and then she goes, and we're like, oh, no. And then she goes the other way, no. And like back and forth. And then she finally hit like this like wall thing in the middle and like fell down. And we finally found the daughter, and she's like, oh my God, like again. I'm like, that's your mom. Like, what is wrong with you? It was very embarrassing. I felt bad.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So we know that you're an experienced dealer just because you have a peace story, because there's I can tell you, there's a bunch of peace stories. You know that you've lived it when you go through, and there's a sex story, probably a bunch of sex stories too. We have a bunch of sex stories, things that happen in the casino where it's just wow.
There was one. I don't want to tell that story. It was sad.
We'll just say there are stories, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. There was one at Hooters though. This little old lady. I'm sorry. It's like cute in a funny way. This little old lady with her husband, like 70 years old. Her dildo fell out, and it was sitting underneath. And no one wanted to say anything. It was just sitting there, like right next to her leg. And so we had security go over and go, "Oh, ma'am, you dropped something." And she just turned bright red and just got up and they immediately walked away. And I was just like, but everyone was like really nice about it. They didn't want her to feel uncomfortable. Yeah.
That's good. Good for her. 70 years old. You get at it.
That's what I thought.
Yes,
Good
your
for
pink
you.
banana holder is just on the floor there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I fill out your lunchbox.
Mhm.
I don't know how would you approach someone like that? It's
That's why I sent security. I couldn't.
your security is like, oh boy. But yeah,
They didn't
awesome. That's the story. Well, we have 5 minutes left. Michelle, do you have any other questions that you want to ask? Anybody that's online, if you want to ask some questions now. For Christy. We're here with Christy.
I don't know. I just ask because they come into my head. Stop putting me on the spot like that, Jay.
Well,
Bye.
I always have my questions all set up. I think we covered all the questions I wanted to ask about Vegas.
Have you lived in Vegas your whole life, or did you move there at some point?
I moved here when I was 8. My grandfather lived out here, so we moved here to be closer to him. And he actually is banned. He's in the little black book that's banned from all the major casinos because he counts cards.
Yeah.
So, and he's been trying to teach me to count cards. Well, he tried, and I was like, no, math and me, not gonna happen. But he was very impressed that I became a dealer. He was like, ooh, I'll come and visit you. I don't think they'll let me in. I'm like, it's been like 30 years. I think you're okay.
Put a hat on, you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. We do have a question. Laura asks, do you ever see famous people?
Yes. I actually dealt to Des Bryant, which luckily I didn't know who he was, so I didn't say cowgirls in front of him because I would have. He came into Hooters, and he was really nice. I dealt to people without even realizing who they were. Like the guy, I don't know if you've seen Napoleon Dynamite. He played Pedro. Dealt to him. Working on the strip when I was 18 at Sugar Factory, I've seen so many famous people because they would come in there with the sparkly lollipops and that. But very randomly, we'll see some famous people, especially at the MGM. You'll see them a lot. Downtown, what's his name? One of these really old rappers. He comes in all the time with really weird hair. I can't think of his name. I don't know. Coolio. Is that his name?
Coolio, yeah.
He comes down to Binion's all the time. And then one girl asked for his ID and he got mad and walked out.
Don't you know who I am?
Yeah. He took it offensively, and I'm like, I'm sorry. When was the last time you came out with a song? But yeah.
That's so true.
He comes into Binion's all the time. Yeah, they do. We do see some famous people.
How do you two know each other? Like, what's the connection with you two?
With
me and
like how did she come on the show? Like, do you guys know each other?
Nope. No, it's just like how we have Danny on the show. It's from that casino group, and Christy has really cool posts. So she posted about back problems. I remember that when you first started dealing craps.
About how it took away from even wanting to be at work wearing the masks. Like it was right after COVID. I made a post about that, and you were like, "Hey, do you want to be on the show to talk about it?" Yeah, I do remember that. And
so we talked. So we talked on the phone, and I just said, "Hey, like, I know how you feel sometimes." And at the time, this was last season. I was like, maybe I bring you on, and we can kind of talk about that because for me, because I started in '98. And I ended up, dealing. I went on the ships, and then I did all these other positions. Like I was in food and beverage, I was in human resources, which is ridiculous. I was a manager. I got to do all of these different positions. I did training, and then I kind of felt like I fell off for a while. And when I came back after being a manager, it was so different. Like the industry was different. When I was on break as a dealer before, we would just be playing cards, or I'd see people playing chess. There's a pool table before I went casino. There was arcade games. This is like 80s, 90s people growing up, and we were all young, and there's university students that were part-time doing homework on their breaks. It was so different. Now, I don't say now because I haven't dealt since COVID. I'm doing something else. But now when I went on break, everyone is just on their phones and they're all just texting each other. Nobody's talking to each other. There's not even any segregation. Let's go. The slot people are here. The food and beverage people are here. It's like there's nothing. It's like non-existent. That's how I felt about it. I'm like, wow, this is so different. So I don't know how you
Yeah.
how do you feel about it? And that's why I want to bring you in. It's like, how do you feel about like the industry now from like when you started, like, because you said you loved, like, some of the first casinos, right? Like now you're
Yeah.
somewhere else.
So I did notice a huge difference coming back from I was at Keep Your Own, and then coming back from the pandemic, it was Binion. So it was pulled. And I honestly felt like, especially when I started dealing dice, I didn't put as much effort and energy. I wasn't as excited to go to work, mainly because we couldn't really do our makeup, but I couldn't hear anybody. Everyone was just miserable. Like, it sucked. And then even when the mask came off, like being in a pooled casino, I didn't try as hard. And that mentality, it kind of kills me to know like I did that. Because now working at a Keep Your Own casino, no masks, I'm like little butterfly trying to make all the money. But I noticed it really made a huge difference. Like even the customers that would come in, they'd be like, "Oh, well, can I just see your smile?" And we'd be like, "For $5," and then we'd pull our mask down. Well, like it's just small stuff like that to try to make it fun. But that mask really, it killed a lot of it. It really did. And I mean, people still wear it if they want to. We don't have to. Thank God, we don't have to. But people still wear them, which is cool. Wear it if you want to. But I hope that never happens again. I really do.
Mm-hmm. So from 2 years ago to now, how do you feel about being a dealer?
I enjoy it. Like I said, I'm in school, so I graduate in the spring with my associates. So I hope I'll be in a position where I won't be dealing anymore. It'll be something to fall back on if I need to, but I've learned so much from it. I've learned more communication skills with strangers, and different being put in different positions, dealing with people. It's been a really great experience. Maybe it's just the burnout, because I know burnout's really big in the industry.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes along with the tips. We don't make the same money as we used to. It's not the same. I don't live the life that I used to before the shutdown. People are very, very frugal, or people are very, very cheap, or very rude, very, very rude. But people, I feel like, are lightening up a lot more. They're being a much nicer because all the regulations have gone away. But yeah, like I said, I love it, but it's just not something I want to do for a very long time.
Yeah. Michelle, what's your take on that? Well, I know what your take is on that. I mean, how do you feel about being a dealer now than 20 years ago?
Well, I think, it's a lot of what Christy talked about is when we were dealers, I started a year before Jay, or I don't know if it was a full year, but I was in 97. And I was in university and working part-time, but it ended up being a full-time thing for me after a while. And I bought a house. I, bought cars. My husband and I both worked in the industry and could live a comfortable life. Like, we weren't rolling in it, but we weren't struggling either. And that's just not necessarily the case anymore, which is part of the struggle for sure, is that if that is lowering, the quality of life for people, then it's hard to be engaged and motivated every day. I mean, one of the things Jay and I talk about in our group all the time is how much we loved the friendly competition and wanting to be good at games and caring about that kind of stuff. And we just feel like that's fallen off a little bit, but I think those all get rolled together, right? Like they go hand in hand, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to I always talk about this, and I always talk about it with every episode. This comes up, and it's like, oh. Well, I mean, for me, it's not my full time job anymore, and I feel like I made the right decision. I mean, I got to be a manager, which is crazy. Like, I knew that I felt like I made it in my mind. It's like, wow, I finally got to where I wanted to be in the industry when I was carrying a coffee. Knowing that I could carry a coffee into the pit and nobody say anything made me feel so cool, and I felt so great. I'm like, wow, look at this. I'm a manager, hooray. And then I also realized that I need to carry gum because I drank so much coffee as a manager. But another story all aside, but like in all honesty, I mean, I feel like, that burnout is correct. You do something, and for me it was like at the time, what, 15 years? 15 years in the industry, and I was doing a bunch of different positions at the time, and I really felt that in my mind it's like I can do better. And I took a really, really big risk leaving a job like that I knew I could probably retire on, because I wanted to make the casino my option C, not even option B. It's something to fall back on, but I wanted it to be C, because it's like I appreciate everything that the industry's ever given me, but I really, really feel that I can do more, you know?
Yeah.
And it's cool. I mean, yeah, the pandemic came, and it just gave me this opportunity to kind of step back. I do appreciate the industry. Like, I love the art. I love dealing craps. I love dealing blackjack. I love showing that. I love training. I want to show people, like, there's so much that I love about the casino industry. I think it's really neat. I love the art of it. I love technique. You know, that's what got me into the industry. So I'm hoping to just kind of pass it on to the generation, because like I said before, going in there the second time coming back as a dealer just to deal part-time, I still felt like it was just not the same, so yeah. Okay, so anyways, we're at the end of our episode, and at the end we usually kind of go around and we ask you if there's anybody that you want to say thanks to, or any shout outs. So is there anyone you want to give a shout out to, Christy?
I don't know if anyone's even watching right now, but I will give a shout out to all of my previous managers and floors that I still talk to this day, are really great friends with. You guys have always had my back, during the pandemic, after the pandemic, helping me find a new job. I appreciate it. And my coworkers, who have always been really understanding with me going to school and work at the same time and covering my shifts if I had to do schoolwork. Like, I appreciate you guys so much. And all the tourists that come to Vegas, like, shout out to you guys for keeping my bills flowing. I appreciate it. And thank you guys for having me on the show. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, perfect. Michelle, any final shout outs?
Shout out to some, it's nice to see Vince. I hadn't seen him in a little while, and Laura is new to me. So, shout out to Laura, and I guess Mike for at least participating.
Freaking Mike. Jeez.
Thanks for being here. It was fun talking to you tonight.
Thank you. It was great. I had a great time.
Yeah, definitely a shout out. I'm so glad that you joined us. Hopefully we'll have you on again, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
We've got a lot of craps talk, and it's really cool to kind of hear about what's going on in Vegas. And if you could provide us any updates, I mean, that we'd love to have you on once again. So
I'll talk to you probably next time will be a new casino, because the Mirage is turning into Hard Rock, and then Ballet's is turning into the Horseshoe. So there's more to come. Surprise!
You heard it here first. Maybe not, but I heard it here first.
Yeah,
You heard it here first?
Yeah, I'm not up to date, so yeah.
Go down.
All right, just stay on, Christy. We're gonna do our outro. So everybody, thank you so much for being on. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. Everybody listening, thank you for. We love the support on the podcast. It's really cool. I really appreciate everything that you've kind of done, and everything, all the comments towards our cast. We all love you. So thanks for just kind of keeping us on. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Take care.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.